Hello, hello, hello. We'll be right with you guys momentarily. Give us a few seconds. There we go. And we are live. Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast. I'm Turbo the CEO. That's Big Mike. Brought to you by Trinity Entertainment, Trinity Music Group. This is episode number 21. Continue the series of protecting your children against bad actors and hackers are bad. Well, you got ethical hackers, but you get the point. So let's get right into it. Well, a couple takeaways from our last episode. We was doing a spanking on you guys. Get those, get your children, your kids out of the bedrooms with the devices. Create a common area that everybody can come together and utilize those devices. Um, that was a big takeaway for me, and I want you guys to take notes. We got some real pivotal information that we're getting ready to give you, and the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much. And I'm Mike doing Mike things. So, you like that, huh? Oh, goodness.
Oh man, it's hilarious.
So, like Dwight was saying, the takeaways are the biggest takeaway that you can get out of this is it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but if you can get those devices and keep them out of the bedrooms because you're trying to reduce the risk as much as you can. And the easiest way to reduce the risk is not having your children using the devices alone when they're vulnerable in their safe space. So if they're using their device and it's in a more common area, bad things don't tend to be able to stick or happen as easily. And it's super important, and put a real hard focus point on that. If you get anything out of all that I've told you about protecting your children, that is probably the most important thing I can tell you is to get those devices out of the private sanctuary bedrooms. I can't express that enough. And it's the most important thing for you to do to protect your kids in a technology sense, not talking anything. And we can do other sessions on how to protect your children in the physical world. That's a whole different subject.
Ooh.
We're not going to address that one yet. That's
Yeah,
for the future.
right.
So let's move on and get into the next piece of the puzzle, which is that we want you to use your technology tools wisely. So you can implement filtering and content filters and tools to block inappropriate websites and restrict access to certain types of content. So again, I iterated parental controls are available on almost every type of device there is. You just have to look up what type of device it is, space parental controls, and you will be told how to do it. We plant the seeds here, we give you the roadmap, we point the direction, we give you the blueprint, but you have to do the work. You have to get out there and do this stuff. Another tool that's available is called safe browsing. You can activate what's called safe search on all of your search engines, so that what happens if inappropriate content tends to just like sort of pop up, it's blurred or it's blocked. And that's important because you don't want your kids to accidentally come across this stuff, because what's going to happen, they accidentally come across something, then they go check it out.
Yep.
But if it
Be
comes up
very
blurred
innocent.
up,
Hmm.
doesn't allow them to see it, it helps slow that down. It's especially important when your children are very young and they don't need to be exposed to things which jeopardize their innocence. You want to keep your children innocent as long as possible. The world is harsh enough as it is, and we all know that the world is not a nice place. So as long as children can maintain their innocence, the longer they can, the better it is. The world's going to be hard on them the rest of their lives, and it's good for them to have a nice childhood that they can look back on. Um, Having a hard childhood is difficult to overcome, and a lot of people can't. And their whole lives they spend looking back on a childhood and not being able to learn from it and grow from it. It's an anchor to them. So if you can keep your children safe, it's a big push towards giving them a healthy adulthood. So your next thing we talk about in this realm is regular updates. So if you use any kind of devices, if you have any kind of phone, your phone is prompting you once in a while, hey, time for an update. So great, it's time for an update. You do your update on your phone. That protects you against vulnerabilities in the software. And so when your phone updates itself, that's to protect you from a hole that has been found that a malicious person can get into your phone via that hole. So they patch the hole, you're safer. You stay safer, as safe as you can be in that world, in that realm. The next thing is your computers. If you run a Mac, you run your Mac updates, and your machine will prompt you, hey, time for an update. But if your child has like an Android tablet or an iPad, might not necessarily be as prompting, or they might be ignoring it really fast, so because they just keep trucking. So that's why you check your children's devices. And when you check your devices on a regular basis, the first thing you should be looking for, besides where they're going, what they're doing, is the device up to date? So you make sure that they have a phone. You make sure the phone is up to date. And it's very, very, very easy to do it. Google the phone, Google it, iPhone space how to update. Whatever kind of device they have, Samsung, how to update. And it tells you exactly where to go in the system to check for the update. Am I current or not? And if it's not, get it updated. It's the least you can do. Keep your devices patched. You have your Xboxes, same thing. You can patch your Xbox, your PlayStations, because if they have vulnerabilities and your kid's out there playing an online game,
Yep.
the malicious actor can find the IP address of where they are and then can try to send something as a vulnerability against that operating system to get a connected link into that system. And once they have their foothold into the system, now they can capture everything that's happening on that system.
Absolutely.
So that's a very, very dangerous thing to happen that you might not even know that's happening is the problem.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to patch your stuff. And I also, again, that's why I talked about really seriously consider on your devices that are gaming is use a VPN and do that for your devices because it's worthwhile. It's another layer that makes it harder to find your home address. And if you think that it's crazy, you can go to a website called www.whatismyip.com. It will then tell you what your number is, which the world sees you. That's like your street address, okay? So once you have that number, you can then go to the next tab on Google and say IP lookup. Go there, punch in the IP address, and you're going to go, oh my. And so that's a simple little test. Just check it out. See what the world can see in like that quick.
Absolutely.
The moment they have your IP address, they can now know how to knock on your door.
Yep.
You do not want bad actors to know your street address. You do not want bad actors to say, I'm outside of your house. It's better that they're anywhere else but in front of your door. Because if they're in front of your door, you don't think they know how to knock on the door to get in?
Yeah.
They're going to know already how to knock on your door and how to get in because they're bad actors. They have the tool set. They know how to do this stuff.
They've gotten
So
really
that's
good
why
at it over the years.
that's a layer of protection. Again, we talked about the gloves you wear. You wear as many gloves as you can so that your hand doesn't stink like poo. So we're going to move on to the next piece of the subject, which is staying engaged. It's hard because we're all extremely busy. You come home from work, you've had a long day, you want to check in on your kids, it's busy. You don't have your time alone yet because you're dealing with the kids. Um, Part of that's going to be this new thing you now have to do,
Yeah.
this security thing that you weren't planning on doing because it's a whole thing. And then you have to then try and have your time. So believe me, it's challenging. It's challenging to be able to get it all done in a day and then get some rest so you can do it again tomorrow. The problem is bad actors are at it 24/7. They're not just using people anymore to get this stuff done. They're
No.
using AI. AI never sleeps.
That's correct.
AI never sleeps. So
Nope.
therefore, understand the bad actors are never sleeping. They're never resting.
Mhm.
They're 24/7, 365 days a year trying to get to you.
Yeah. You
So
know,
you can go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm a gamer. I grew up in a gaming world where uh gaming system. I had the first gaming system, and I had the most recent PS5. It's so easy for bad actors and hackers to get a child's information, and through the IP address, through different queries, talking to the kid online, pinging them and getting information. Next thing you know, they approach your house. Your car has all the stickers on it. My child attends this school. My child attends that school. And now they have all the information they need. They
They
can
show up
go
at
to,
school and
yeah,
they know everything about your kid,
yep,
and now they abduct your kid.
yep. S- Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So you can get involved in online communities, join parental groups and forums that discuss online safety and share your experiences.
Hmm.
So what are other people doing?
Right.
I'm giving you a map. I'm not giving you everything. So you can potentially get a hold of people who are already actively doing, saying, here's the tools that I specifically use, and here's what works for me or doesn't work for me.
Hmm.
Here's my highs and lows with it. So that's why joining those groups and online forums can help, because you're discussing online safety, you're sharing your experiences, you're getting all that information from other people that are doing it. Don't do it all on your own. Try and learn from others who have already done it and are successful.
Correct.
This can help you stay updated on new threats and effective strategies.
Hmm.
Okay. Regular check-ins about your child's online experience. And you always hear the one of, you ask your kid, how did school go today? And they go, fine. That's all you get. Okay.
You got to
That,
dig
that, that-
deeper.
you got to dig deeper. And the
Yep.
same thing's going to happen here. You're going to have to dig deeper when you're asking about their online experience, because you know why? By the time you ask them about their online experience, you already know what they're in, who they're talking to, and you can ask them specifically about each
Yeah.
of the platforms that they're on. So you already know. So when you go to talk to them and they find nothing's different, well, what about this? What about that? So now you can, and then, because you're involved, you can already know, and you can actually get the information that you need and find out how engaged in that triangle of responsibility is your child.
Yep.
You're trying to protect them. Are they trying to protect themselves?
Hmm.
And that's why you need that information from them on regular check-ins.
Do the call
Ask
to
about what,
actions.
yeah,
Hmm.
call to action. Ask about, what are you enjoying? What challenge you face? Whether have you encountered anything uncomfortable? Has any bullying happened? Or what do you think? Is it looking like it's good where you're at, or is it, does it feel like it's kind of, the vibe is bad? You just kind of just find out through
Yeah.
asking open-ended questions of
Hmm.
what's up.
Yep.
And so that's kind of a big deal,
Yeah.
uh, to be able to talk to your kids about that stuff and
Hmm.
get them to talk back to you. And the
Absolutely.
more you know about what they're doing,
Hmm.
the easier it is for you to relate to what they're doing, especially if you're there with them when they're doing it, because they're in a common area. And you ask the kid, hey, how does this thing work? If you
Right.
want to get your kid to reveal what's up,
Hmm.
you say, well, what is this? How,
Yeah.
how does this thing work? And when they're going to show you how this damn thing works.
Absolutely.
Well, this is
Absolutely.
what I do. I come here, I
Hmm.
do this, I do that. Well, and when you're playing, how does that communication? What's up with that? And
Hmm.
does it make the game better? Does it make the game worse? Does it help you get through it? Do you see what I'm getting at? You're
Yeah.
not like accusatory. You're
Mhm.
curious.
Yeah.
And if you're curious about
Hmm.
what's going on, your kid's going to be less resistant to giving you information.
Oh, they're
They're
gonna
gonna
love to give you the
they're gonna
information.
love it, because it's
Oh, they're
like
gonna.
somebody's.
Oh,
This
they're
is
so
what I'm doing, man.
excited. Come on,
You know,
mom. Come on, dad.
oh,
Yeah, let's do
yeah,
this.
you into this? Let's check it out. Yeah,
Right.
look at what level I'm on. I'm here. I'm doing
Yeah.
this, and this is
Mhm.
what's really cool. And so, how's that team thing work?
Right.
And do you work with the same people every time, or is it different? See what I'm getting at? You're digging a little deeper, because now you're asking good questions. You know, they're having the same group of people they're in with every time, every day. Oh, excellent. Do you know these folks at all, or you just don't know from the game?
Yeah.
You see what
Probing
I'm
with
getting at?
opening questions.
Open-ended questions, and your
Yeah.
kid is going to be more than willing to be telling you about, oh yeah, this guy here, he's a little bit of a jerk, but he's a really good player. You see what I'm
Mhm.
getting at?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
What's is this guy any good? And you got a list of who they talk in their group, right? Is that
Right.
guy any
Right.
good? Why
Yeah.
you bring that guy along? He doesn't look like, does he got good stats? You see what
Wait,
I'm
Mike,
getting
you a
at?
gamer?
No, well, I know I'm a
I
jack of
know,
all
man.
trades. I
I
know
know.
something of everything.
I know
I
you
may
do.
I
Mike
may
is
not
Mike.
Mike is doing Mike things. I might
Right.
not be a master at any one thing, but I am really good at a lot of things. So I can speak almost any language. Okay. Uh, any industry you're in, it doesn't matter. I can translate plain language to that industry. And even in gamers, I have to know how to talk to gamers. I have to know what makes them think, because there's times in my industry when I'm working with someone who needs technological help and they're a gamer, and I understand a gamer's perspective that there's certain things they're really good at, but other things they're lacking in.
Mhm.
So that helps me understand how to help them.
Right.
So that's why it's always good to know the terminology. And as a
Yes.
parent, you can learn the terminology. What
Mhm.
does that mean when you have those shield has 10 on it? What's that called?
Right.
And what
Right.
happens when you get to 15? Do you get a better shield? And they're like, oh yeah, man, if I just level up one more time,
Right.
I can go take on the big beast.
Mhm.
And you're like, okay, so see what's happening. You now know what their motivations are. You
Right.
know what drives them. You know what excites them. And you're finding out their interest. When I did interviews as I was hiring people for IT, I would ask them in the interview process, tell me what's your gig? What do you do when you're not working? What makes you kind of
Mhm.
happy?
Right.
And I had, does any books you like? What kind of music you like? What do you do? And that's
Mhm.
one kid that nobody wanted to hire him. And I said, what do you do? He said, well, I fix cars. What do you mean you fix cars? Well, I take cars and I tune them with the
Mm.
computer and I race them. And I'm like,
Nice.
you do what?
Yeah.
I was like, I says,
Right.
you do what? And he said,
Yeah,
oh
you're
yeah, yeah.
hired.
I take these cars and I
Yeah,
plug
yeah,
my
yeah.
computer in and I can tune them up. I was, I want
Right.
that guy. I want that guy.
Yeah.
And they were
Absolutely. You
after
want
he
that
left,
guy.
they were like, why do you want that guy? I said, because this guy is a problem solver. He can
Right.
find things that
Anything.
no one has an answer to,
Mhm.
and he can figure it out. And he
Yeah.
has a good purpose to integrate technology with physical.
Mhm.
We hired that guy and he was amazing,
Of
amazing.
course. Yeah.
And he
Of
wasn't
course.
just your stereotypical pencil protector wearing geek. This kid
Mhm.
knew how to fix
Yeah.
things, and
He
you
had an
need
extra
people to
layer.
fix the extra
Yeah.
layer.
Yep.
So this is what I'm talking about. Find what excites your kid. Find
Mhm.
what makes them tick. And now you got a common thread with them, and don't forget what's happening with them, so that when you go to talk to them next time, hey, did you ever get that shield? Did you ever get that thing? Did you guys ever finish that quest? You're not in their stuff every day, but you're active enough to know, even when you're over
Mhm.
dinner, hey, when you were doing that game, did you ever get to the next level, or did you guys have to start over?
Right.
Your kid's gonna just open up and go, blah, 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 because it excites them.
Mhm.
And that's how you stay engaged. That's how you keep your kids excited, and that's going to let you have that open communication, common ground. And that's so important about so much what we're talking about, is that now you're doing this
Yes.
because you're already here. Now your kid
Mhm.
is going to be here, and
Yeah.
that's when we reach the goal of protecting them. So we're now going to move on to the next piece of the puzzle, which is educating about digital footprints.
Mm.
Now, this is what's called long-term impacts. This is, the internet doesn't forget anything,
Mhm.
okay? And especially in today's world, um, what you post online can have long-lasting consequences and ruin future opportunities.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you an example. It's a simple current example. Whether you're on one side of this discussion or not doesn't matter. What matters is this: actions in the real world have consequences. And many children grow up with no consequences for their actions. They think they can get away with anything. And it's not fair, and therefore they get away with it. So
Mhm.
the current thing that was been happening is, on college campuses, kids are protesting, which is fine. You protest, whatever, it's your right.
Right.
But they're doing protests in a manner which is not a normal protest. They're acting violent. And then they're posting about it. And then the school that they have a scholarship with, which is federally funded, says, you're saying things which are bad against our country. You're fighting it. You're against being here,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore your scholarship is revoked. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you're going against the school code of conduct. You're out
Kids
of
couldn't even graduate school
here.
because they were involved in violent protests. So these things have actions, and you might be at the protest. I didn't do nothing. I was just there watching. You
Yeah.
were there. Your
Mm-hmm.
picture was taken. There's digital evidence. It never goes away. And now you're going to pay the price for just being there.
Yep. You're complicit. Yep.
You were complicit. Therefore, you are part of it. And therefore,
Mhm.
you can't say I wasn't part of it because you were there.
You were there. Yeah. Here you go.
And,
Right
and
here.
that's bad enough.
Yeah.
And this
Absolutely.
happens all the
All the
time
time.
now.
All the
All
time.
the time.
Yeah.
So
And it's with the progression of facial recognition.
oh my God.
Oh man.
It's so accurate.
Yeah.
It's so
Mm.
accurate. And it takes nothing. It takes nothing
No.
to find you.
Mm-mm.
Into with the number of cameras there are everywhere.
Yeah. These
Oh my
new,
goodness.
these new cameras,
And
and they're
not just that,
embedding
with things get
AI in
posted,
it as
you don't
well.
think that if something's getting posted on a public forum
Hmm.
that and someone's trying to investigate, they're going to find that, and now they
Oh yeah.
find it and digitally forensically investigate and do facial rec on it, and boom, they got you.
They got you. They could be
It happens
20
so
years old. They got you.
it happens so
Yeah.
fast.
You see it now. It's happening now.
It's happening right now.
Yeah.
So exchange positive online behavior. Encourage it. I mean, encourage
Mm-hmm.
positive online behavior. Teach your children to be positive. Say give more and good things to the online world than you get. Be that shining beacon. Be that light. Be that example. This is where you teach your children to do good things. You know, going out to pick up trash is a good thing. Why? Because it makes the world a better place, right? And I'm not making a difference. You're making a difference. You might not know it, you might not see it, but you're making a difference. And if all of us make a difference, we make a big difference.
Absolutely.
So you're supporting your friends, engaging in educational activities, you're creating content that reflects well on them. That's what you teach them to do. If your child's doing something good, have them create positive content about it. See, what you're doing is you're teaching your child, don't just be out there doing dumb things, go do something good. You
Yeah.
know, go to the local dog shelter and help with the pets, and with the dogs that are abandoned, help with that. Go
And
and do,
cats too.
and cats too, and go out there because I love cats too.
I do. Yeah. Me
um
too. Mhm.
I love all animals, you know, I'm all about that. um so what happens is that when you encourage your children to create positive experiences, that encourages them to be a better person and to show a good side of themselves. And that also is going to reflect in their future opportunities, because that's what happens.
Absolutely.
Good encourages more good.
Yeah.
Now, what you're trying to do is you're trying to put enough goodness,
Mm-hmm.
and your child has enough exposure to goodness here,
Mm-hmm.
that the little badness and the extremists and the people trying to get your child to be crazy
Mm-hmm.
has no hold, because your child is rooted in good stuff.
Positive multiplier.
Positive. So that's hard to do because we're so busy.
Yeah.
But to find good things to do with your kids that are positive, that's why another good thing is put down the technology and do good things.
Absolutely.
You know, in Germany, people go on what's called a Volksmarch, where
Germany.
they go to a whole family goes out and goes for this
Mm-hmm.
little walk. And they go through a walk through wherever it was. There's a pathway. They take the pathways, little signs. When they're done, there's a place they can sit down. There's a little music playing. They have a little bite to eat. They have a good time. They get a little coin for the trip. The kids get the little coin for their stick. And I mean, the whole thing becomes a positive experience. So then your kid is looking forward to the next week to get the next coin and in another place. So they're getting to experience the entire countryside. They're getting to share time with their family. They're getting exercise walking. They're having a great social experience with people from other ages, which is super important for social integration. I mean, so what you happen is you're taking something as crazy as going for a little walk and you turn it into a wonderful large thing, which now helps your child become better adaptable for the world.
Yeah.
And the Germans are really good at that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't tend to do that here. We tend to be a lot more isolated in our activities, especially with technology.
Right.
So that's the kind of things you try and find and cultivate and look for other groups of people who are doing these kinds of things and try and get involved with it. try and get involved with these kinds of things
Yeah.
to make life positive.
Yep. Positive community building. Yep.
Absolutely. And you
Mhm.
might be able to find a local German group and say, hey, do you guys go on Volksmarches?
Yeah.
And start getting involved in it.
Yeah.
And it becomes a thing. You look. We used to in Germany go look up every weekend. What's the new? How many Volksmarches are there? Where are they at? And we all go find one. Okay, we went to that one already. We don't need. Well, let's go. Oh, that one here. It's not too far. Let's go to that one. Or here, a little further away. Let's leave a little earlier. But you see what happens? You're all
Mhm.
excited about when it was newspaper back then. We come with the newspaper and look for the Volksmarches for that weekend. And it was a
Nice.
family event.
Mhm.
Because when we did that, the
Mhm.
little one was right there with us, looking at the paper with us.
Right.
And we find the map, we point it out and go, okay, we're going to go there. And it was an adventure. The whole thing was an adventure. And you can do the whole thing in half a day.
Cool.
So
Cool.
that's positive experiences. We
Mhm.
talk about many things in this whole thing. The more goodness you create in your child, the less apt bad things are to happen to them because they're going to have that solid foundation and they're going to understand and be aware of safety and protect themselves. So if you have questions about this, if you need to know more, and if you have certain things that are topics of pretty much almost anything that you would like to discuss, again, put it out there. Dwight's going to let you know how, and we'll talk about things. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping
people.
that this series was a good series. I'm hoping this series gave you some good breadcrumbs, a roadmap, and gave you some positive information because in today's world, we need positive, uplifting information. So I'm
Absolutely.
hoping this helped.
Absolutely. Let's give it up for Mike. Big Mike. We are concluding this series. And like you said, you can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, uh, YouTube, StreamYard. You can email us at info at the Final Boss Podcast for questions, concerns. You want a topic, you want to be a part of the show. Hey, I'm available. Hit me up. Until next time, this is the Final Boss Podcast. Remember, people, positive. Positive and a positive equals more positive.
And keep an eye on the social medias because we're going to let you know between now and Sunday what Sunday's topic is going to be.
Yeah, and we'll be back.
We'll be
You better
back.
believe it. We'll be back. But that's the show for today. Y'all have an amazing weekend and have a great night.